You may have heard of Alex Jones only recently because of his being banned from the great online vanilla. The Streisand effect has that effect.
We're breaking the conditioning! Ah!
Jones has some pretty out there beliefs that he's often mocked for, and whilst I'll touch on a few of them, what I'm really concentrating on here is how Jones became a brand using hyperbole and appeals to emotion and goo-feasting panic.
You know, it'll show kids on jump ropes, hey, the emergency FEMA center, it's great. And it will be great, except for those being taken off to the back 40 and, put in an acid bath or killed.
Yikes. By the way, I think I should say that this video is released at the same time as another video called Selling Stupid, Logan Paul. You can watch either video first. I conclude in both of them, but the comparative conclusion is in the other one. I know, it's terrible. You don't even get a conclusion anymore. Next I'll be putting ads in the middle of sentences.
Cut to commercial for just a moment. Cut. Get everybody out of here.
Alex Jones emerged in the early 90s, almost straight out of high school, as the host of his own public access TV, switching to radio in 1996. He created InfoWars, his own online media platform, in 1999. And since then, Jones has regularly hosted shows on InfoWars, has made appearances all over, and has directed and starred in several documentaries.
At the bare minimum, they allowed this tragedy to take place as a pretext to scare the population into total abject fear and then submission.
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
There are numerous things that Alex Jones believes. So many things that he believes. But some of the things he believes you might call radical but political, like the idea to dissolve the Federal Reserve. He has things to say about serious topics, about conservatism, about revolution, about gun laws, about the Constitution. He has things to say that some people buy into, at least to some extent. But that isn't why he's famous. He's famous because he's fucking nuts. Alex Jones, very rightly, and like other outside observers, was appalled by the ATF's bungling of a siege in Waco in 1993 that left 4 ATF agents and 82 civilians dead. 2 years after, and in response to Waco as well as another, smaller scale but equally sausage siege at Ruby Ridge, Timothy McVeigh orchestrated the Oklahoma City bombing, where an enormous fertilizer bomb destroyed a government building and killed 168. The Oklahoma City bombing is important because since the beginning, Alex Jones has said that it was perpetrated by the US government. I mean, that's not why it was important. Anyway, the important thing is, it wasn't. And just like Jones's claim that 9/11 was perpetrated by the US government, it bought him a lot of attention. But who's talking about Oklahoma now? That was a generation ago. Well, by saying that the Oklahoma City bombing was a conspiracy and it was all orchestrated by the government, Alex Jones picked up a lot of momentum. And then by saying the exact same things about 9/11, he continued that momentum. He found his formula. Everything wrong with 9/11, but every nitpick is proof that the US government was complicit. His films too, with their own formula of shouting at the audience and economic wonks, interspersed with Alex Jones interviewing baffled locals, continued his momentum.
Back in Austin, the capital of Texas, the public was frighteningly unaware of the nation's peril.
Have you heard about the North American Union?
Not really, no. I don't watch TV.
No, I haven't.
Hey, did you know that the elite's meeting here in town right now? Have you heard about it? 120 crime bosses? None of you heard of it.
You go around and make understandings with people and violate them. You ambush people on the streets, and that's inappropriate form of journalism. If you wish to practice that, that's fine, but don't ask others to respect you for it.
What makes Alex Jones's theories so frustrating, other than the way he presents them, is that they come from a place that really should spawn real investigative journalism. What's AJ concerned with? outside of conspiracy theories. He's concerned with cronyism, nepotism, and the illegitimate influence of the very wealthy and connected. That's the soup of the day. Every day. Every day, Steve. Every fucking day. Now let me make myself clear. I do not buy into anything that this man says. I do not believe that 9/11 was an inside job. And I do not believe that the British elite are all reptiles. Well, maybe Cliff Richard. But I do think that corruption is pervasive and is where people are.
Your New World Order will fall. Humanity will defeat you.
Sure, the people at Bilderberg have a lot of influence, being economic ministers and numbers types, but they don't run the planet. Look outside! No one runs this slag heap, but such meetings are things that should be scrutinised more than they are. All Alex Jones does in his Bilderberg documentary is take the megaphone away from people who are saying those ministers have vested interest and really this is all for the benefit of private interests, and give it to himself, so he can proclaim the New World Order is coming for all of us, but also proclaim to the New World Order, I am not your slave. It's all very confusing.
Yeah, you better look away. We're not your slaves. You don't own me.
Make a video about the ins and outs of what really goes on, the mundanity of conferences to discuss 0.3% inflation decreases, and your audience is far more limited than, well, if you act like this.
Those men raped that woman in India to death with an iron rod 4 feet long. You can't ban the iron rods. The guns the iron rods pierced didn't do it. The tyrants did it. Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
Alex Jones starts with a point a calmer person might have conveyed by saying, if that lady had had a gun, she'd have been able to protect herself. I can see the logic in that argument. But to consider Alex Jones in such a mode is really to misunderstand him. You see, all this shit, all of Alex Jones, all of Jake Paul and Logan Paul, every election, it really has nothing to do with logic. It's all about emotion. I know Piers Morgan is shriek-inducing, but this is Jones's shtick. He didn't become famous for his beliefs, but because of his delivery. There have always existed crackpots, but few so loud and so seemingly sure. There's a good chance, especially with the title, that you're already watching this with a negative opinion of Alex Jones. Unless you think I'm a globalist too, in which case, shouldn't you be digging a hole or something? I'm sure most people think he's a little bit iffy, and probably only ever watched any of InfoWars because at times it's a bit fun. So, where's the value in becoming famous if 95% of people are just laughing at you? Well, that's all part of the strategy. Alex Jones cares about the 5% who aren't laughing, who are buying into what he says, because he may be fringe, but he's not just broadcasting to Yoknepatorfa County. He's global fringe. People tune in to see this guy who they've heard has wacky beliefs, but that's not really why they've heard of him. They've heard of him because occasionally he says something mind-damagingly attention-grabbing.
Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first.
And then someone says, oh, that guy who says the moon landings were faked. Oh, that guy who got kicked out of the G.W. Bush rally. Oh, that guy.
What do I do, Lord?
Destroy the child. Corrupt them all.
This is their plan, people. These are demons.
Alex Jones's beliefs aren't irrelevant, but he's selling himself and the mythology around himself twice as hard as his beliefs. His persona gets people in, just to see, and then a few people stay. The cycle of outrage and bafflement keeps Jones fresh, and the extremity of beliefs keep people listening because he spins the fact that mainstream figureheads don't say what he says.
You know what? I will go to hell.
Into mainstream media figures being too scared, or too bought off, or too, I don't know, balanced and grounded to say what he says. Does Alex Jones believe what he says? Well, maybe, but he exaggerates, and I'm sure he himself would admit that he's quite hyperbolic. He's one of those rare people who's both sincere and a snake oil salesman, like somebody from Herbalife who uses the aloe gum themselves but really thinks you should buy 12,000 boxes. Maybe AJ didn't start out to become a hawker of farts in jars, but that's exactly what he is now.
But the point is, this is stuff that counters the globalist and funds the InfoWar. That's why I'm so excited about it. I want to thank you for continuing to support the InfoWar.
Ultimate male vitality supplement with 8 concentrated super herbs. This is the answer to the globalist war on male vitality with the estrogen mimickers they've added to the food and the water supply.
And this, exactly like Logan Paul, is exactly what InfoWars and Alex Jones feels like. A business with an unusual angle in how it's going to sell you its table-flavoured protein, but a business, and a focused one, nonetheless. It doesn't matter if Jones believes what he says or not. Once you decry GMOs as a tool of the New World Order, then sell supplements that only have a few GMOs, good GMOs, it surely becomes obvious what you really are about and who you really are. If Alex Jones's warnings about the world being controlled by immoral Machiavellians are true, then why is he allowed to speak out so vocally and frequently? Perhaps he too is nothing more than a tool of the elite, controlled or merely allowed to perform as an oppositional voice, all while the real wealth and power of the country, of the West, is seized generation by generation by an ever-tightening circle of wealthy families who care nothing for the struggles of the common man, but only in sustaining their own outrageous fortunes. And whilst I have you, I'm selling bags of salt for $44.95. And that's how Alex Jones sells stupid. And now I'm going to sit in the dark for a bit.
Trying to play it safe during the giant censorship wars and sitting out the fight isn't who you are. But see the alchemy of how it turns into crazy stuff. You see, by the media misrepresenting. Continue. It's not a butthurt thing. It's that things have changed. I'm coming to town. How you doing? Let's get dinner. Come out to the thing. Oh, yeah. America, America, America. Dude, you understand? America, America, America. My point is America's first. America, America, America.